I believe that it's a common sense that the globalization will continue whether or not we have this epidemic or not. I do not, I do believe that the epidemic now seriously have an impact on the global economy. It's only an interlude of the long-term economic globalization. And the globalization will continue. Just like you have car accident, you have aircraft accident, but you still travel, and you will never close the door and keep you at home. And as simple as that, because the globalization, anyway, will continue because of especially because of the technology. The technology is making the globalization even more inevitable. And in addition to market force, the capital's strong force, that's all drive the globalization. And so maybe in a few months' time, we will forget about this epidemic, and when the life come back to the normal, and you will see the globalization still functioning even better. In connection with this kind of privacy and the protection of the data, I think it's important to strike a balance of the public interest of your personal privacy. And also we have to differentiate the normal time and the special time. For instance, now when the epidemic is very serious, and so you have to report in the last 1 month where you have been, and but in the normal time, if some stranger or some people in the airport stop me and ask me in the last 1 month where you have been, I think he would be crazy. I would be very angry. But now it becomes a normal, and so you have to differentiate the normal time and special time. And I think in different countries, also because of the tradition and the culture is different, so it's sometimes it's very difficult to define the line of the privacy, which part we can call the privacy, and which maybe in other countries people do not believe that is a part of the privacy. So I think each country might formulate some regulations about the protection of the personal data on the general background of this country's culture and tradition. And but internationally, we still believe we should come up with some basic lines and basic bottom lines that the protection of the personal data is important because it's a part of the human right in general. So I believe that while we respect the national specific circumstances, we should also, in the long run, to have a kind of international recognized regulations on the protection of privacy of the personal data. I think that's even important. That also leads to global cooperation in that connection. Thank you. I believe that we should make much bigger efforts to improve the international atmosphere of cooperation, because the atmosphere of cooperation has never been so bad for so many years. And of course, the epidemic made a difference. And for instance, among my Chinese friends and colleagues, because of the epidemics, we do not see each other so frequently. We do not invite each other for dinner or lunch. And so you feel a very strange sense of distance. And you feel that you are not so close to your original friend and colleagues. And you don't have any problems. The only problem is the epidemic. So the same is true with the country to country. And because epidemics, you don't travel and you don't have a kind of international conference as often as before. And so I do see that a kind of sense of distance among different countries. My friend ambassador from Japan have never even invited me for dinner for a long time, and not because we have program. We have a lot of improvement in Sino-Japan relationship, and I have to congratulate my friend that during his term that the Sino-Japan relationship come to a real good turning point. But he has not been inviting me for dinner for a long time, not because of any other substantive reasons, just because of the pandemic. So we have to make big efforts after this pandemic come to gradually over. And we need a kind of a more warmth and more positive dialogue, positive exchange of views. And for instance, I've not been with the ambassadors together for a long time. I used to be meeting with the ambassador quite often because you come not too long. And so I believe that, we need real efforts to improve the general atmosphere. And I just raised this issue, how to do it. I think we have a lot of very good method to do it. But this is important because when people meet more frequently, talk more frequently, there are much less misunderstanding, and there are much more incentive to find ways to cooperate with one another. I think that's a human being. It's same too with the country.